Well, hello there, you wonderful being. Aren't you magnificent? You are. It was a rhetorical question. I already know the answer. So, speaking of questions, I asked on Twitter for some questions, and you delivered in the hundreds. And because the last couple videos have been a little bit down, we're gonna start with a fun one. This one is from Cancer Isn't Funny, and the question is, how many children have you and Michael killed over the years? Well, question to you, how do you know about that? Maybe you're next. And then Mexi Fiddle asks, what is the most fun about making videos? To me, the most fun part about making a video is when it's done, when it's completed, and I get to upload it, because I'm not in that headspace anymore. I can kind of watch it to a degree as a blind viewer, but yeah, I think that to me is the most fun part. It's watching the entire creation finished and seeing all these little parts that you focused on come together to form something bigger. So yeah. Andrew G asks if I can show my tattoos and what their meanings are. So I can show you one of them, or well, 3 of them. The other one's underneath my shirt, and I have to take my shirt off. It's not responsible for me to take my shirt off. So many people will just fall in love, and it'll ruin whatever relationship they're currently in, because they'll be like, oh, you don't have a skeletal body like Jake. There's this one, which we've seen before. Oh, there's my sweet, sweet tan line. This guy is Seth the cephalopod. He goes all the way around there and then up here a little bit. I just really love cephalopods. If you ever watch a video of an octopus going through the water, they're just so fluid and they move so well, but they're also just dangerous and kind of terrifying. So I liked that, and I kind of wanted, there's a scene in Spirited Away when No Face is kind of falling apart, where his body's kind of melting, and I wanted that, so I talked to the tattoo artist, and so we kind of have that where it's just like ink is kind of being pulled apart from it. Then on my wrist, I have Make right there, not Jake, but Make, just to remind myself to always make things in case I forget. It's just a constant reminder that I have to do that. Then we have the Vsauce logo on my finger because I love Vsauce. Here on my side, right here on my ribs, I have a Dia de los Muertos character. La Catrina is her name, and it just visually looks cool. And also in middle school, when I was doing Spanish lessons, we always watched this whole Laserdisc video series on La Catrina, so I thought that was interesting. Here on my back, I wanted to get 2 lines from a Sylvia Plath poem, but I could only afford to get 1. But the 2 lines were going to be, I close my eyes and all the world drops dead. I lift my lids and all is born again. I remember the tattoo artist telling me the first line was more expensive than the second line, so I got the second line. So I lift my lids and all is born again is what I have tattooed here on my shoulder. The Sylvia Plath one was meaningful to me because my parents were getting divorced and all this stuff when I got that one. And I was still in school living with my mom, a representation of that moment during my life. I don't know. Ooh, Isabella asked a good one. Would you rather be the Doctor or a companion? And since you now have access to the TARDIS, where and when would you like to go? Yeah, I think I would like to be the Doctor, but I'd also like to be a companion. I would be interested to see a female Doctor and then have a male companion would be a nice dynamic. But anyway, the Doctor would be pretty cool. He's a pretty savvy Time Lord. I'd like to go back in time to the National Archive in Washington, D.C. to witness probably one of the most audacious robberies in American history, and that is when Nicolas Cage stole the Declaration of Independence. Lance Klein asks, what is my favorite Taco Bell item and what are my plans for the future? That's 2 questions, Lance, but I will answer both of them because I already said it. So here we go. Favorite Taco Bell item? Probably the Mexican pizza, and I always get the Mexican pizza without meat, beans instead, because I was raised vegetarian, so growing up, Mexican pizzas, with beans, a dream. Future career plans, just to continue growing Vsauce, more than just YouTube channels. That's why we have things like the Curiosity Box and we're working on other projects. But I want it to be this multifaceted thing that really represents everything that we care about. And I want to focus on that a lot. So my future is just hopefully growing Vsauce with Michael and Kevin. Jen Makes Stuff and Marlo Hooper asked similar questions, which basically was, what was my favorite video to make? And that would probably be, could you live forever? And the reason for that is that I don't think it's the best video I've made, but I think that it represents my idea of what the kind of content I would like to make is. I would love if every video had these beautiful, wonderful sets with costume design, and they felt like actual movies that were just 15 minutes long. So that one, in my mind, represents best what my dreams are for the kind of content that I make. So it was me being able to dabble in, just dip my little toes into the water of what that would be. 199 Khaled asks if cheap camera gear can make a video like mine. And this actually brings up an interesting topic that I might have talked about before. I don't know, I've thought about making a video just dedicated to this, but tools. Tools I think are very important and they're interesting as well. So I shoot with a very fancy camera. I shoot with the Red Weapon 8K Helium. When you make content, the most important part of it is the content itself. It's not how glossy it looks. It's not the music behind it. It's really the story that you're telling. That's what's important and that's what matters. I've seen so many videos, and we've seen it just on the internet, of people talking directly to a camera like this, and it's not some big production, but what they're saying is valuable, so that's what you watch it for. To me, it's the whole package. It's the story, it's the way that it feels, it's the way that it looks, it's the music underneath it, it's the way that it's edited together, it's the way that the graphics look. You know, it's a whole world that you're building and trying to tell. Could you do that without a really fancy camera? Of course you can. You know, I'm just fortunate enough to be able to have one of these. I think that you can do it with anything. I've filmed videos on Canon DSLRs, I've filmed videos on my phone, I've filmed videos on little point and shoot cameras. It's just how you use it. And one of the best things, I believe, is to start with something small, something cheap. Because if you can master that, then you work your way up. If you can make something fantastic with your cell phone camera, then of course you can make something beautiful with a fancy camera like this. That's not a challenge anymore. But to push yourself, to try really hard to make something with a lot of limitations means that you're getting better. You've had to learn more and harder than you would have if you were given something incredible to start with. To answer your question, you can shoot stuff with a cheap camera. It doesn't matter if the camera's cheap, it matters how you use it. It matters that if it fits the story that you're trying to tell, and a lot of times, with whatever technology I have available to me, that kind of dictates what I'm able to do. I don't think this is how you pronounce your name, but I'm going to pronounce it this way anyway because it sounds more fun. Chippy Fiesta 7 asks, what did cancer teach me? It taught me that life is very short. It really is. In the grand scheme of things, we're here for an instant and then we're gone. So it taught me that there's a very limited time that I'm here, and it could change any moment. I have no kind of say over how long that is, really. And that's kind of, it reminded me of my own mortality and my own inability to be in control of my life. So I want to double down on what I can control, and I want to be able to make things that are important to me and share those. And I want to focus on that more. And it's one of the reasons why I've been slower actually at making content, is because I wanted to have a purpose, not just to make something, because it represents what I'm feeling. There needs to be a purpose for it. And is that a mentality that applies to everybody? Probably not, but where I am now, that's kind of what I want to do. Damien SXO asks a very important question, which is, what do I think about pineapple on pizza? Yes. 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 Pineapple on pizza is a treat. You have sweet, you have savory. Put it together. What do you got? Pineapple on pizza. Danny asks, do I have any advice for those struggling on what they want to be in their life? My advice would be to not listen to anyone's advice, not even my own. I think the best thing you can do when deciding what you want to do is listening to yourself. Because other people can influence you, and if you are on that edge of, well, should I do this, should I not? And if someone says, don't do it, then you're like, okay, well, if other people think I shouldn't, then maybe I shouldn't. But I would say whatever you feel and hear is what you should do. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But now you know, you tried it, you experienced it, and you learned. Julian asks, what would be my greatest goal? My greatest goal would be to make something important, to be a part of something important. What does that mean? I don't really know. I think importance has a different meaning to different people. So I can't really classify that either, but I want to leave something that is valuable to people, that is meaningful, not just to myself, but to those who get to experience it. And I think we all strive for that in a way, especially when we create things. We're creating something, we're leaving a breadcrumb of ourselves somewhere for people to experience, for people to understand. And so, yeah, I'd like to leave a very large breadcrumb. And in the same vein, Willie asks, what makes me feel accomplished? And the truth is nothing. I don't feel accomplished, and I've yet to. And I've talked about this before, but I don't think I ever will, which is a good thing, because that's what pushes you. That's what keeps you going to make more stuff, to create more, to be more impactful, hopefully, is that longing for accomplishment. You want it, but you also know that you'll never really get it. And if you do, then maybe that's when you've reached your limit and you stop. and I don't ever want to feel that way. Because I felt that way last year. Not that I had hit an accomplishment, but just that I was stopping, and ooh, it's a terrible feeling. Erica asks how tall I am. That's an easy one. 7'5". That's not true. I'm actually 6 feet tall. People always ask me like, oh, I thought you'd be taller. But I'm 6 feet, which is pretty good. I think it's all right. Olivia Williams, do I have a P.O. box? Yes, I do. 1 second. This is it. Write it down. That is the P.O. box for all of Vsauce. If you ever want to write to myself, to Michael, to Kevin, that P.O. box is the place to do it. Santi asks, can you tell us your favorite movies? I'm just going to rattle off some that come to my mind, and then that's what we'll say are my favorite movies. Battle Royale, Old Boy, the South Korean one, not the American remake. Spirited Away, probably say Heathers. Yeah, those are probably like the ones that I could watch again and again forever and never get sick of. All right, thank you for your questions. They were lovely. They were fantastic. And we'll probably do this again, so be sure to follow me on Twitter, @JakeRar. It's also the same username for Instagram and Facebook. Isn't that weird? Wow, look at me. Look at me go. I'm going to go. But remember, it is not goodbye. Oh no. It's never goodbye. It's